All pop culture references mentioned during this podcast are analyzed and scored by artificial intelligence. Jeff and Chris have learned not to argue with AI's decisions and strongly suggest you shut your mouth as well.
So Jeff, I think in past episodes, and nobody has to look this up, and they're not polls, especially not deep polls. I've probably mentioned a trip or two to Target, okay, which every suburban dad has to go to, whether by choice or whether by do you mind stopping by? It's kind of one and the same. It's usually do you mind stopping by and picking this
Yeah,
up.
of course.
But once I go into Target, I tend to wander around a little bit just because I'll find something that makes me laugh, or I'll find something that looks tasty, or, and I'm talking about food.
Thank
But
you,
just
Chris, for explaining that. I was really wondering what you meant by that.
okay. And if I'm being compelled to go to Target,
Yeah,
I make it worth my while. Okay. I'm just not
understood.
going to run
Okay.
in
Yeah.
and pick up Band-Aids or, hydrogen peroxide or whatever thing I know.
But Chris, wouldn't you say that's because you're getting older? Like there was a time in your life where you never even thought twice about it. Oh, I got to go here. I guess I'm going there. And now, as we get older, we become so discerning, right? It's like, well, look, man, I am not going to go into Walmart unless ...
Right,
That's
right.
me, right?
Well, yeah, and with me, it's like I've gotten to the point where I'm only gonna stop if it's on the right side of the road.
Right.
I'm not making a left-hand turn. I'm not
Wow.
going through that
I
no,
like
so it's
that. I
gotta be
like that.
I'm like a UPS driver. I only
I'm
make
almost there. I
right,
like that.
I make right-hand turns only, like the UPS drivers. So anyway, I'm in Target, and wandering through the aisles, and they do have one section for whatever reason with, sort of like we've used this word before and not in a positive way, tchotchke kind of things
Okay.
that are like, hey, here's a Pennywise little thing for your desk, right? From It. Or
Oh, okay. Yeah.
here's literally like a Bela Lugosi Dracula action figure. That's the kind it's supposed to be for collectors or hobbyists.
Okay. Yeah,
But
yeah, that's
as
kinda
I'm
cool, though.
walking,
Yeah.
yeah, again, I always stop by just to because I'll usually
Yeah.
see something worth mentioning. I think I may have sent you a picture or two in the past for something. Maybe it was Planet of the Apes related or something.
Yeah, you did, actually, that was
Flash
cool.
Gordon,
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
But this time, it was I was kind of like not really something, "Nah, this all looks the same," and I was almost walking away, and then I just kind of froze in my tracks as something out of the corner of my eye, I go, "Wait a minute. Wait a minute." Okay, action figures, traditional ones that we've seen, and I'll use the term so there was, um, Batman and Superman
Okay.
and
Yeah.
Joker,
Yep.
which we've seen a million times over,
Mhm.
various formats based on various actors, various eras, whatever. Um, but these had a little bit of a twist because these action figures were in Halloween costumes, miniature Halloween costumes. And if you could guess, I'm hoping you can guess what kind of Halloween costumes they were, because again, actually you don't have to guess because I think I reached out and I sent them to you.
Good memory, Chris. Good memory.
Ben Cooper.
Yeah.
Ben Cooper, who we discussed. Now, we've talked about old style Halloween
Yeah.
costumes.
Yeah, yeah.
We've talked about when we were kids trick or treating. We've
Yep.
talked about the masks and the rubber bands
Right.
and the costumes that not only were the costume, but then had the name of the costume, of the character written right across the chest in case there were any doubts as to who you were. And then even the documentary that I stumbled across and that you watched that told the whole history of the Halloween costumes that we bought as a kid in
Yeah.
those big, heavy square boxes
Yeah.
in supermarkets, right? Drugstores, action figures with based on Ben Cooper Halloween costumes, and I almost cried, Jeff.
Well, Chris, and for those, obviously listening in, our audience, those costumes, when we say Ben Cooper costumes, you don't have to search your brain and think, Ben Cooper costumes, what would those have been? Listen,
Mm.
everybody, there was pretty much only one effing costume you could
There was
possibly buy
very
back then.
see,
Toys R Us
right,
was not stocking up with 17 different types of companies that sold the quintessential, fire
correct.
retardant jumpsuit with the half mask. That was Ben Cooper and Ben Cooper only. That dude somehow cornered the market. God bless him. And here's what I love about that, Chris. And yes, yeah, I saw some pictures of it. We're going to go through those in just a second, right? But what I love about it is their targeted audience. Pardon the pun. I didn't mean that one. But the only audience for that has to be us. There's no
Absolutely.
way that a little
Completely.
kid is gonna give an F. You'd have to be maybe 3 or 4 years old to go, "Oh, okay, I want that, daddy or mom." So, Chris, walk us through the couple that you did see, right? And
Mhm.
so let's start, right, and show the audience a picture of this, and I guess it's a big plug or a promo for the company that's putting these out.
We do
This
not receive any reimbursement or compensation for this. This is
No,
simply
a free plug,
nice polls. Yes,
right.
plugs and polls. Maybe we ought to create up a
Yeah,
whole
a whole side
category on
thing.
that.
Plugs aplenty, yeah. So, this first one, if I'm not mistaken, Chris, is somebody called Superman? Do I have that
Superman.
right? Yeah.
You are correct. Now,
Describe to me
Superman,
the fineries of this suit here, Chris.
well, first of all, this is an improvement on I had a very, very similar Superman costume like
Yeah,
this. The improvement is it actually has what looks to be, again, I never had this version,
yeah,
a very uncomfortable full facial mask.
right,
Well, full facial where it goes over half your face and has
right,
that rubber band that's like extra, extra, extra small, which,
right.
gives you a headache within
We've talked about this
4, 5,
ad
right,
nauseum.
5 seconds, right?
Right.
The headache comes, then the sweating,
Then the
right?
stroke.
And then the near, yes, the
Right.
near, unconsciousness.
That's right.
So it has a mask, unlike the one that I had, which was like a stupid ass Lone Ranger mask that I refused to wear. Um, it also
Yeah.
had, and it also is lacking, uh, and maybe, and this is interesting because I don't know why it's like lacking the as you see the trunks. Let's just say, as people used to say,
Oh,
make jokes. Why does Superman wear his red underwear on the outside of his pants?
why?
Um, so here they just said, "There's no underwear."
Wait, there's no answer to that? That's not a joke? Oh, I
No,
thought yeah, I thought
no,
there was some clever okay, sorry,
no,
keep
no,
going.
no,
No, my bad. Alright,
no. So
continue.
I think the story goes on that is that initially that was when he was created back in the 30s. That was
Okay.
like an acrobat sort of circus
Yeah, for sure.
strongman
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
look. He'd
totally.
wear these like trunks with tights.
Yeah.
Anyway, doesn't have those. But other than that, it complete with the cape, as you can see, that ties around the neck. Just an unfreaking believable reproduction.
It is amazing that what they've done is very meta, right? Something
Mhm.
within something else, right?
Yeah.
This is
Yep.
an action figure of you as a kid wearing the costume of what would normally be an action figure, which is also a superhero. It's you've just gone into infinity, right? This is now what's the movie where they go 7 levels down into with Leonardo DiCaprio, Inception, excuse me. We are now that deep, right? So and if you look at it, the action figure is actually wearing the costume and the half mask is a real half mask that has a little band around it. So hats off to sorry, again, no pun intended, to whoever made this. Chris, let's jump right in though, because I want to get into the Batman. Talk about the Batman costume on this thing.
The Batman costume, as you can see, it's first of all, Batman also wore the trunks, his underwear and his outside gone. Okay, so not there. And that was my first sort of, but and the so no trunks. But hey, there's just a no trunks policy apparently. Um, the logo is enormous. Now Superman has a pretty big logo to generally, but it's just yes. But the Batman logo looks to be about the same size, roughly the size of a frisbee. And not only that, and we can, and which again, we very hey, it's wrong. But the added bonus across the middle of the Batman logo is one simple 6-letter word that simply says Batman.
As if you didn't know. Right,
As if you
Batman.
didn't know.
Yeah.
As if you
Right.
didn't know.
Yeah.
And now, again, through a little bit of I don't even know research, a little bit of a documentary watch, um, we learned the reason for that.
I'll tell you what he's doing. He's doing this. Who's opening the door? An old person. to give you your candy. Have they read comic books? No. Are they watching Superman on TV? Faster than a speeding bullet? No. Are they watching Batman on TV? Quickly, old chum, the Joker is in Gotham City. No, they're not doing that either, right? What they're doing is saying, hey, stupid old person, do you know what this is? Probably not. If you don't, look at my fucking chest. It says Batman. Wait a minute. You're looking at my face? No worries. I got you covered. Look up here, dumb shit. It also says Batman. Have I made myself clear? Have I at least earned an orange circus peanut?
Another nice bowl with the peanut. Again, or maybe it's entirely practical in the regard that maybe the kid's only 3 feet tall, and they need to see that logo because so it's below the waist of the person opening the I don't know.
Chris, and before we move on to the next topic, can I show you a picture of me as a kid dressed as Batman?
You can.
All right. So as you're looking at this picture, one of the kids has the Ben Cooper costume, and you can see it is proudly displayed. By
Yep.
God, that is a version anyway of the Ben Cooper costume.
It is.
The other dork, right, is me wearing my homemade Batman costume. And I was proud of myself for doing my best to make a homemade one. And it wasn't that my parents were like, we can't afford $5.99 at whatever, not Target, Toys R Us, obviously. But I said, no, man, I want to do this
TG&Y.
myself. And this was TG&Y, yeah. And this was my best attempt. And I want to really point out the star of that costume, which is cut off blue jean shorts that have been rolled up to look like Batman shorts. Last I checked, Batman wasn't wearing denim fucking shorts with a zipper fly in the front, but by God, that's the best I could do at the time. And then I got to give you a huge shout out to my brother Gary, who may very well be listening to this. God bless him. He took construction paper and, being somewhat of an artist himself, made a fucking badass utility belt for his little brother Jeff for Halloween. So thank you, brother Gary. That was amazing.
Props to Gary. Props to Gary. But it also shows, Jeff, how you were focused on the trunk aspect and how you may not have had, you were going to get, you did not have the Ben Cooper / TG&Y / Kmart /
it's a lot of slashes, Chris.
Kresge's / Fedmart,
Yeah.
Gemco, wherever
Fedmart, Gemco.
Okay. Or maybe you just got it at Alpha Beta because they sold them too.
Right.
The point being is that you were focused on the important things.
Right.
With the trunks. And hey, don't be too hard on yourself because, as we have had discussions about, you more than made up for it with later on in life when you had the skill set and the resources to be Batman and to even dress up your car.
It did, yes.
Batmobile.
That's a whole other episode. But,
it was a whole other episode.
If you want to see that one, guys, I poster painted my my Honda Prelude to look like some version of the Batmobile. But it did have a jet engine in the back and all the stuff. It even had a little bumper sticker on the back that said, "How am I driving? Dial 1-800-BATCAVE." I thought that was pretty funny back then, Chris. Oh, the laughs I gave myself.
Just so we know this is coincidence, this is just how I got dressed. I did not plan my own Bat tribute here today, just happened to be wearing a t-shirt with the logo that I know is an important logo. It's not just any Bat logo.
Well, yeah. And guys, it's not any Bat logo. And I was telling Chris this before we started recording, that Bat logo is very distinct. And anyone that is into comic books or the TV shows knows that is the Adam West 1966 Batman logo. Not the 1980 something or other. Nothing against Michael Keaton. That's a fun film, but it is not the Dark Knight. That is the original campy, fun Batman right there. So God bless you. Shout out to Adam West, always my hero.
Props to Adam West.
Someday, Chris, I'll show you my autographed picture from Adam West, and this is what he signed. Remember, Jeff, evil never sleeps.
That is impressive. I still have mine too. I thought we had traded. We'll have to show those, or maybe we'll have to put those up on the website or something like that so people can look at them.
Now, in other news, right, Chris, you ran into that, not looking for it. You just bumped into it at Target, the fancy store. Ooh. And in the meantime, I was using my algorithm to hunt down retro PSAs, public service announcements and commercials, because again, there's such a gold mine there that we've barely scratched the surface on.
Right.
And yes, Chris, would you believe I was able to find a few more? What a shock. I would like to show you this first one with the intention of sort of flipping the script. Chris, we have talked a lot about inherent misogyny in the sort of vibe and attitude of the 70s and even into the 80s. I mean, it's kind of funny to look back on, but come on, man. It was pretty hilarious, right? So this one I would say definitely is a 180. So again, let's go ahead and open up that liquor cabinet and let's go ahead and take a look at a very unique perspective that, hey, man, good for you, ladies. Roll the tape.
She doesn't go for glitter, but she always shines. She's got nuance. She comes on soft. She doesn't have to shout, but she's always heard. She's got nuance. She comes on soft.
Nuance, the fragrance that comes on like you do. Soft and sensational.
She doesn't have to ask, but she gets it all. She's got nuance. She comes on soft.
Nuance by Cody.
Okay. Here's what I love about this one. First of all, let's not gloss over the fact that she literally pulls up to that event, whatever that event
Mhm.
is, in a
Mhm.
a Malibu Barbie Jeep. All right, so that
Right.
was kind of cool. I love that part.
Sure.
This actress is the quintessential hair commercial, perfume commercial,
Mhm.
makeup commercial.
Mhm.
I can fry up the bacon, Anjali,
Right.
Jordache jeans type of a girl.
Mhm.
And I know she's supposed to just lightly spritz it on her face, but that is quite a spritz. It's like it's just completely like she had like an aerosol can. Anyway, so she meets her boyfriend. And Chris, did you have a little bit of a flashback to that Farrah Fawcett commercial with
Just
Ultra Bright, right? Where they're laying in the why is every date somehow end up with them laying in the grass on a blanket? I guess that's how all dates went back then.
that was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a let's find that was a thing, right? The Coke commercials, it's like you need a lot of grass, you need some open space, all you need is a blanket, apparently.
And the name of the perfume, I love it, is Nuance, right?
Mhm.
Which
Mhm.
to me, is kinda synonymous with the word almost like subliminal. Not quite, but it's like nuanced, under the
Mhm.
radar. So Chris, she's laying down, she's got
Uh-huh.
the dog there, she's got the boyfriend there. What is the name of the book, if you recall, that she is reading as she's hanging out with her boyfriend?
Well, I wanna say it's very descriptive and very to the point. I think it's dog training,
It is, yeah.
okay?
It is, yeah.
So, what in the actual hell would you be reading just randomly, I'm reading a book called Dog Training, unless it was some sort of kinky 70s trashy novel
Right.
that actually it was a code word.
Yeah.
But, what the hell?
Well,
What the actual hell? Where does this go? Because it just throws you out of the commercial.
Well, again, obviously the message here, right, is she's training her dog, but the dog
Mhm.
is the guy, right? So what I love about
I
this
didn't wanna
is,
yeah, exactly. I didn't think about that, but that's fucking perfect. Right.
and by the way, I love it because this is basically the only version of feminism that we kind of have, at the time. It has to be
Mhm.
very subtle and subliminal because
Right.
everything is kind of dominated by these male, perspectives. Whatever with that, but Um, I love that because then the very next scene, right?
Mhm.
She is getting a gift from him, and she opens it up, and it's like a little. It looks like a necklace of some kind. It might be
Mhm.
pearls or something. And when she hugs him, she looks very carefully at the camera, like, "Uh huh," right? Yep, got him. Try to imagine a situation, by the way, where you're on a romantic date with somebody and you're like, hold on a second, Chris. I know you're here to try to seduce me and ultimately have sex with me. But first, do you mind if I read this book on dog training? Would that be out of context or weird at all to you?
Again, I think you've added so many layers that it makes me think that this was, a Yeah, I don't even know again who directed this.
Clearly, the writer of that commercial and the director were actually trying to make a point, and it's a
Mhm.
point that is rarely seen in ads and pop culture during that time frame. So I think this one's kind of unique, and that's why I chose that one. All right, well, hey, totally different topic now.
Mhm.
Let's go into something that we have definitely touched on in terms of cuisine back in the
Okay.
70s, specifically super fast, easy to prepare, economical cuisine. Now, I'm not talking about powdered milk that you add milk to, right, to make it last a little bit longer.
Mhm.
This is not Hamburger Helper or any of those things. This is something a little different, but Chris, this is something that was a big part of our childhood.
Okay.
What I'm loving here is the context in which they place
Ooh.
this product. So let's take a look at this. Roll the tape.
Get a world away from the everyday with new Swanson International Dinners. German, Chinese, Italian, Mexican style.
They take you away from the everyday to a world where the food makes you want to stay.
Those real sensational
International frozen dinners from Swanson.
German style, a generous helping of sauerbraten, spätzles, and Bavarian cabbage. Chinese style, chicken chow mein and fried shrimp. Italian style, lasagna with meat and cheese, tortoni pudding. Mexican style, with a beef enchilada and tamales in the fiesta meaty sauce. Get a world away from the everyday with
these real sensational
International frozen dinners from Swanson.
I mean, it's got everything. It really has everything
It
in it.
does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
First of all, yes. So the TV dinners. Well, first of all, let's start off with German food, and I do not want to be please make no mistake, this is not an indictment or any kind of criticism, but I don't know anybody who ever said, "Hey, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? You feel like Mexican, Chinese, or Italian? Hey, how about German food?" Okay, no. So I mean, that didn't happen, at
You,
least in my
Chris,
house.
you bring up a good point. I just want to say really quick right now, search your brain. Can you think of a single German restaurant? Not only a German restaurant that might be in your area, but
Uh,
any German restaurant. Do you know of a single German restaurant?
well, there was that one Kaiserhof, I think, which was right
Was?
there. Is it still there?
Is it
It's still
still
there.
there?
I think it's still there. Yeah, right there, like
Oh,
sort of, off the
okay.
eight, right there, sort
When I
of.
was a kid in La Jolla, they had the Schnitzelbank, and that was a
Oh,
very
that
famous
one.
one. But
Okay, the
we don't really think
Kaiserhof.
of German food as being a
No,
normal thing, right? Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no. Outside of like a bratwurst or
right,
something like no.
yeah.
So you've got your right. You've got your German food. You've got your Mexican food. You've got your Italian food, and you've got your okay. This is not me talking. No, 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 or whatever. That's maybe Japanese. Gong, the Chinese food. Okay,
Yeah.
so these are your options, and you get to, they look freaking disgusting. Okay, branding aside, variety aside, there's a little bit of casual racism, or maybe overt racism
Casual?
thrown in, right? Just commonplace, place of the time. There's nothing Remen flavored in here, but maybe there should be. No Remen, but a little sombrero, just so you're not confused, right? A little
Right, yeah,
sombrero or the little China, the little Chinese hat, like that
yeah.
one out on the right, just so you know exactly. I don't know what the hell's going on with that Italian little logo, but there you go. There's your food varieties. Um, they look disgusting. They probably taste even worse, and yet this is supposed to be. Look at this. You put it. Remember it's wrapped. The picture on the box looks 10 times, a million times better, but it's wrapped in foil. So then you peel it back like it's some sort of freaking present, and the fact that again,
The weird present, but okay.
this was a replacement meal.
Yeah.
This was a meal that's like you're supposed to get excited about. This is quick and convenient. And look at all the food groups or look at the side dishes that are represented here. Um, it's horrible. And I think now if either of us had fed our kids something that looked like this, we would have been reported to Child Protective Services or something like just terrible.
Well, Yeah, first of all, I have to point out the setting, right? I get it.
Mhm.
Swanson's is trying to elevate what is basically the most disgusting
Uh-huh.
food on the planet. It is to say that it was watered down whenever you opened one of those things up is an understatement. Normally, it was a brick, a frozen brick that came out of your freezer, if you could get it out of the freezer without using a pickaxe. Then when it comes out, you're gonna defrost it back in the 70s. And defrosting normally didn't involve a microwave. It just meant let it sit there until it's a
Mhm.
soggy puddle. Then you would take the cardboard off of it, which was mostly just mush. Something you could
Mhm.
now use for a paper mache project, possibly.
Mhm.
Now you're gonna, to your point, peel back, right, that foil or stick it in the oven with the foil and then pull it out. But it is going to be liquid mush, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
and what I love about this, and by the way, Chris, we don't have the color corrected version of it. I don't know how this originally aired. Obviously, it's a copy of a copy of a copy on whatever, but
Mhm.
they made no attempt to make that food look appetizing. It looks like a bird was about to feed this to its baby birds. That's what it looks like.
So
It
you're saying it looks regurgitated?
vaguely food colored. That's it. And the way they're describing it though, right? It's like a politician, right? Don't look at the truth. Listen to what I'm saying over here. I know what you're looking at. You're looking at
Mhm.
just watery, mushy, disgusting garbage in a tinfoil plate. But that's not what it is, Chris. As you can tell by the
Oh.
waiters walking around with napkins over their arms, which is always
Right,
quintessential.
yes, that's
But
maybe the
in
best
all
part.
cartoons, Chris, a fancy
Mhm.
restaurant, the waiter has the napkin over his arm,
And the little
and
pencil-thin
they're holding
mustache.
trays, and they have nice little outfits and vests,
Yeah,
and
right.
the
Little bow
music in
tie.
the background tells us, and the Roman columns. Chris,
Uh-huh.
this is no less than a 5-star Michelin restaurant, is what this
Oh,
is. And by
no
the
way.
way, they know you're rich, Chris, so they're not gonna think that you would even notice. I just served you a $1 disgusting, regurgitated water mess for your meal, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And no one's even batting an eye. "Ooh, my gosh, it's like I'm really in Germany eating schnitzel." Are you? Right? Those taquitos, motherfuckers, we are in
Mhm.
Southern California, we live in San Diego. How fucking dare you call those
Right,
things
right.
taquitos? Oh, and by the way, they're not enchiladas, they're enchiladas. Enchiladas,
Enchiladas.
Chris.
Enchiladas. It's a delicacy.
Enchiladas. I don't know where to begin. And then, Chris, of course, you've got the long duck dong, right? We've got
Uh-huh.
the Remens. And again, you have to go
Mhm.
back to previous episodes. Now we've got, once again, for the 100th time, to your point, right? Like they're about to go
Awful.
into a Vapors tune, right? And this is, Chinese. Okay.
Fucking terrible. And
Chris,
and
those shrimp, goddammit, they did not get deveined. You know those shrimp did not have they had poop in
they
them.
didn't.
Come
They
on
didn't.
now.
They
I'm
did.
gonna get
And
sued by Swanson's. God damn it, I shouldn't
well,
have said that.
and the pasta, which Chef Boyardee wouldn't fucking serve that, okay? So it's
Wow.
like
You
it
have just
made
thrown the gauntlet down.
well,
Oh
okay,
my god.
SpaghettiOs. I'll give me SpaghettiOs over that shit to the point
Chris, did
of
you pause on the O on purpose because that's how it's written on the
okay,
label? Spaghetti
no, and it just
O's. Oh,
well, I
because that's
think I
how
was
it's written.
give me
Okay.
give me ragu, the abundanza, all that kind of shit, which, any of that stuff over
Abbondanza.
this, right? Mama
Abbondanza. Yeah,
Celeste
that's
frozen
right.
pizza,
Yeah.
whatever the fuck you had
Yeah.
versus this stuff. And maybe I think maybe that's the tell, right? Because maybe Swanson's just needed to stay in their lane. Right? And it says like, just don't try to make Mexican food, right? Don't make Chinese food. Don't make what you call Italian food. Maybe Swans, and don't even try to make German food because you probably piss off actual Germans. Just roll out the pot roast and the baked potato and the green beans and maybe a side of rice and that kind of that's your wheelhouse, Swanson.
They are describing those meals like you're listening to Gordon fucking Ramsay describe, again, like a 5-star meal. It's like, and the schnitzel, glazed with a balsamic reduction and blah, blah. It's like, no, dude, It's red dye number 4, dimethyl polysiloxane, polydimethylaminobenzoaldehyde,
Wow.
trishydroxymethylaminoethane,
Jesus.
and every single other thing you can imagine that looks almost like it. Look, at least with the TV dinners that I liked as a kid were the ones that were geared towards me. Hey, kid, do you like eating crap? I do. Hi, that's me. I love crap. Guess what? We're not even going to fucking pretend it's a steak. It's called a Salisbury steak. Guess what that
Right.
is?
Or a
It's a
steak-um.
fancy word for hamburger, right? Just like rich Corinthian leather is
Right.
code for plastic, right?
Mhm.
But at least Chris, ours had the cool treasure map on the back and a cool little puzzle, right? And you
Okay.
had all these like really fun things. And then when you
Right.
peeled it open and looked, there was like a secret thing inside that had some kind of a, you know, send this money in and get this cool action figure. Those were fun, right? But we
Right.
knew we were eating liquid shit. Hats off, Swansons, for trying. You did your best. You tried to make us believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that this was somehow edible. Nice.
Well done, Swanson. Okay, Jeff. So this next one, thanks for including it. I sent it and you agreed it was right up in our wheelhouse, unlike Swanson and their TV dinners.
Yeah,
A
right.
commercial that falls into maybe the loose category is no kid, why would you want to play with this? Or
All right. Yeah.
why would you want to pretend to be
Oh,
doing
yeah.
this?
That's a category for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
just like when they used to have those toys, remember that was like for girls, it was like a toy kitchen or like a toy vacuum cleaner. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're really shooting the moon there, kid. Go for pretend to clean your kitchen and then
Right.
vacuum while you're at it.
Yeah.
So why would any kid want to play with this? You need to take a look and
All
see
right.
why.
I'm
Okay.
excited. All right.
All right.
Here's Milky, the marvelous milking cow. It's fun to milk her, gonna do it right now. She drinks the water when we pump her tail. She's raising her head, it's milking time now. Her pretend milk is a feeling the pail.
She drinks water and gets pretend milk.
Milky, the marvelous milking cow. Milky, the marvelous milking cow with pretend milk tablets. She's new from Kenner.
Well,
Yay.
thoughts? You must have
many.
thoughts.
So
Many
many.
thoughts.
Chris,
Okay.
I have so many thoughts. Listen, you nailed it, dude. A toy that no kid would ever want to play with. I can only imagine that the dairy consortium somehow had something to do with this, and the toy company took a fuck ton of money from local dairy farmers or something like that to say, hey, let's get kids really into this idea, you know, and milk starts from the ground up and, you know, all that stuff. So imagine pitching, wouldn't you as a kid like to have a toy where you get to milk a fucking cow? Because every kid's dream is to milk a cow. Look, let me be honest with you, Chris. I had field trips to a dairy, right? We were excited to milk an actual cow. And that lasted 30 fucking seconds. And when you were done with it, you're like, nope, I did not really want to do that, as it turns out. That was really gross and weird and awkward. And now I feel funny and want to take a shower. No kid, let's start with this, wants to milk a fucking cow. Or once they've done it and you've squoze on the rubber glove udders. Oh, and by the way, lifted the tail right near the poop chute there, right? And this gross, diluted looking milky substance comes out. Then what are you supposed to do? Yay! Let's do it again. No, let's bring more people over to do it. We filled it up. Let's fill up another. Is that what kids do? No, that thing would have been in the fucking trash 2 minutes later. It would have been either lit on fire, right? Or have a battle with Stretch Armstrong, and then it would have been thrown in the trash. That's my 2 cents on that toy.
Jesus. Well, first, I'm glad you got to, you know, from the man who went on field trips to car washes and drugstores. This
That's right.
actually, at the
Lumber
outset,
yards.
lumber yards sounded like a step up.
Yeah, it did. It was. It was.
You know, we didn't grow up in the Midwest. We didn't grow up in Iowa, right? Or
right.
Kansas or any place like that. And actually, most of the United States did not grow up in Iowa or Kansas. So, but we were inundated. And again, the milk lobby, I'm thinking this was the farm lobby as well. There were so many toys that had to do with farming. Like, you remember that whole fucking Fisher Price like farmhouse that had those little stubby characters,
Oh, yeah.
and then you could like
Yeah.
and there was like a moo sound when
Oh,
you
yeah.
pressed a button and all that shit, and there was like a big grain silo, and it was just like, am I supposed to aspire to this? Am I, especially growing up in Southern California, do I want to say, yeah, fuck college or, business or whatever. I want to really go milk some cows. So you had these farm kind of like pushed as like, G.I. Joe may have been a little violent, but it
Yeah.
was a little bit more, it was adventure based, where this is like chore based. This is, hey,
Right.
hey, Henry, you got to get up at 4 a.m. and milk them cows before you go off to school.
Yeah.
This is not a toy.
They may as well have had like, hey kids, here's some paint. Now watch it dry. Like where's the fun in it? By the way, that Fisher Price barn, I kind of like that thing because I could have like the Bionic Man and he would be running away from the bad guys, but he would hide out in the barn. And then, it could be part of his adventure. So the barn was kind of cool. And by the way, that cow is the wrong scale for anything you're fucking playing with. Unless the cow is attacking a city, I'm not going to be able to use that cow for pretty much anything I'm playing.
The toys to pretend where you get to pretend to do shit you would never do in a million years. That was an interesting category.
Hey guys, let's remove hemorrhoids. Dun, 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 dun. It's fun for the whole family. First, peel away the skin. Secondly, yeah.
Was there like a companion toy where you got to clean out the chicken coop? Probably the same sort of thing.
No, actually, it's
Right.
like the scene when in Willy Wonka where they go through the tunnel, right? You actually get to chop the chicken's head off and then serve it for dinner and then pluck its feathers out. No, this next commercial is, well, again, this is the dessert, right? This is
Okay.
really, this one just comes down to the director. This director clearly was not the right guy for this job, but this has to go down in commercial history as one of just the most, again, I like to have the last video we look at be the, I'm sorry, what the fuck now? Right? And I think this one fits that, Chris. Let's just take a look. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's see. Okay.
Listen to Remco's Baby Laugh a Lot. You're listening to Baby Laugh a Lot. She's the funniest doll you've ever seen. Just push the button and she starts to giggle. Get Baby Laugh a Lot by Remco.
Your reaction, Chris? I'm tongue-tied. I don't even know what to say.
Well, first, thank you for making me sleep with the light on tonight.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. Exactly. That's right. Yeah.
So the two things jump out.
Okay. Number one is that fucking baby, but go ahead. Yes. What's the other thing?
Baby that laughs a lot in the most maniacal cackle that sends shivers down my spine now. Okay. There's the reaction of the kids who get to, little girls who get to, like, what the hell am I hearing? Okay. Okay, that's number two. The continued laughter of Baby Laughs a Lot. And then let's just say, amended reactions of the kids going, oh, wait a minute. This is cool. This makes me laugh. This is funny. So not only do I have to be afraid of Baby Laughs a Lot, I have to be afraid of those effing kids that decided this was cool and they can't wait to try her out and maybe go kill their parents while they sleep. I don't know.
Yeah.
In what
Yeah.
what is this trying to get me to do? Now, Willie Talk, now ventriloquism dummies and my own personal ventriloquism dummy that we talked about. I think ventriloquism dummies, the ones from the Twilight Zone, this would fit right up there with Talking Tina, but those dummies got a bad rap compared to this shit because this is fever dream. I don't ever want to see this again. I don't ever want to hear a reference to this again. And God damn it, do not give it to my daughter and put it under the tree at Christmas time.
I mean, this would be no different than purposely buying a parrot with Tourette syndrome. Why would you do that to your family? What parent is going to hear and think, we have to get that for her. We have to get that in our house. The sooner that nonstop fucking noise happens in this house at all hours of the day and night, the better. So, first of all, you're not marketing to the parents. And the
No.
kids, I think the whole thing about them whipping their heads around in this like super, almost like Hitchcock, kind of like a
Or
mode.
Exorcist.
Yeah, or The Exorcist is so indicative of what would actually happen to a kid if they had to hear that goddamn laugh more than 3 or 4 times. It would turn you insane. That's the look that I would expect my daughter to have when I open the door and for the 100th time say, God damn it, you have to stop. You have to shut that thing down or it's going in the trash. And they just have that look of, I don't know what to say other than it was a fever dream of absolute insanity. That's normally the montage you would see in a movie that is an anti-drug movie. Look at what happens when you take 1 hit of marijuana. I don't even know where to begin. Overkill is an understatement on this commercial. It's so epic, dude. I love it. Incredible.
I think that doll would have lasted about 4 minutes at my house before my dad had taken out an X-Acto knife and removed the voice box. Okay, it just wouldn't. It would not have flown. I think.
By the way, I like the implication that your dad wouldn't throw it in the trash. He would just do surgery on the voice box, not tell you about it, and then just leave it there like a sociopath. That's pretty funny.
Imagine having to listen to that over and over again and then coach these little girls into reaction A and reaction B. I probably would have quit the business after that. I would have said, you know what? I think I'm going to go sell insurance because I can't. If this is what I'm selling, I can't sell this shit anymore.
I'm imagining that director was maniacal enough. If he had that vision, can you imagine how many takes he must have made those little girls do? That's all I'm picturing in my mind. Again, I'm joking, of course. He's probably just a normal dude and he, smoking a cigarette and just trying to get through it as quick as he could. But in my mind, right, I keep thinking like, again. And somehow he has a German accent. I don't know why, Yeah, and these girls go home literally with like neck braces. What happened? My God, it's a doll commercial. What could have happened? They had to keep whipping around.
Susie says she doesn't want to go in any more of these auditions.
No more doll commercials. Yeah. Well, Chris, it is that time where we are now going to take a look at who won this episode of Nice Poll. Our friend Artificial Intelligence has been listening very carefully, as always, and it has meticulously figured out all the different polls from Chris, from Jeff, and it ranked them by how obscure it is. And of course, it's given us a final count to see who wins. So again, let's go ahead and take a look down there in the old liquor cabinet and find out who won this episode of Nice Poll. What? Okay.
It's something broken.
What happened? Well, of course, guys, this is out of our hands. I just got a message from Artificial Intelligence through my Neuralink that the artificial machine wants everybody to actually go to our website and take a look at the full breakdown of this episode, right? That means that if you want to see who scored what point, how it all broke down, and actually get a little behind the scenes summary of each of the polls, just in case you're like, what the hell were they talking about? You can now do that. So what you're going to want to do is just go to nicepollpod.com, nicepollpod.com, and you're going to click on a little button up there on the homepage there that says scoreboard.
Oh, and listeners, while you are on the homepage, make sure to RSVP to the Nakatomi Plaza Christmas party. It's a little bit early, but make sure that you enter your email information. We've got a Nice Poll newsletter that's coming. You'll get some other information, some insights into behind what's going on in the Nice Poll universe. So make sure you visit that. And hey, if you want to buy a coffee mug, you can do that too in the Galleria. So anyway, make sure you do that the next time and check out that score. And I'm pretty confident when I do that Jeff is going to have won again, but we'll see.
We'll see what happens. Again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We're hoping you're liking the visual aspect of the show. Visit the website, have some fun there. monkey around, and then get
Yes.
back to us and tell us your thoughts. You can always give us, again, feedback on any one of these episodes, or you can even register to be a guest on the show if you have something you would like to say on the show live. By God, we can do that as well. Okay, Chris, so what do you think, man? Until next time?
Till next time, Jeff.